Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Picture this. It's a bitter winter morning in 1860s Colorado. Snow blankets the rugged peaks of South Park, and a lone hunter tracks through the pristine wilderness. His name is Joseph Higginbottom, though everyone calls him Buckskin Joe for his preference for wearing Native American buckskin clothing. He spots his prey, a magnificent elk silhouetted against the white mountainside. Joe raises his rifle, takes aim, and just as he's about to fire, he slips on the icy ground. The shot goes wild, striking the hillside with a thunderous crack. But when the smoke clears and Joe scrambles to investigate where his bullet hit, he discovers something that will change everything. Gleaming in the fresh scar on the mountainside is a vein of pure gold so rich it will spawn one of Colorado's most legendary boom towns. Welcome to the incredible true story of Buckskin Joe, a place where fortunes were made and lost, where a dance hall girl became a hero, where Confederate raiders struck for treasure, and where an entire town vanished almost overnight, leaving behind only whispers, legends, and graves. The year was 1860, and Colorado was gripped by gold fever. Thousands of prospectors, dubbed Pikes Peakers, swarmed into the territory chasing dreams of instant wealth. Among them was the enigmatic Joseph Higginbottom, a man whose very identity remains murky. Some accounts describe him as a mulatto, others as African American, while still others claim he was neither. Higginbottom's discovery, accident or not, would create the Phillips Lode, one of Colorado's richest gold deposits. The hunting accident story has become legend, though skeptical historians note identical tales in at least 4 other western states. Gold was discovered along what would become Buckskin Creek, drawing prospectors like moths to a flame. Almost overnight, a settlement sprang up in the narrow valley, initially called Lorette, possibly after Buckskin Joe's sweetheart, or perhaps after Laura and Jeanette Dodge, relatives of a Phillips Lode co-owner. The town would soon take on the more colorful name that echoes through history. By 1861, hastily erected cabins and tents had transformed into a thriving mountain metropolis. The miners, never comfortable with Lorette, increasingly called their home Buckskin Joe. When Horace and Augusta Tabor established the town's first post office, they made the name change official. This was the Tabor family before their legendary wealth, when they were still wandering from camp to camp operating general stores. The future Silver King was just another merchant trying to make an honest living. Young Maxie Tabor attended school in this remote settlement, his childhood unfolding against the backdrop of one of the West's most dramatic gold rushes. At its peak, Buckskin Joe claimed 5,000 souls, though historians suspect this included the entire surrounding district. The town boasted 14 stores, 2 hotels, a bank where transactions were conducted in gold dust, 3 dance halls, billiard parlors, and various saloons. A brass band played on street corners, adding civilization to the frontier atmosphere. About a dozen stamp mills thundered day and night, crushing ore and extracting precious metal. Alongside these operated crude arrastras, circular stone mills using primitive methods. One stone wheel still survives near the original town site. The town's importance extended beyond mining. In 1861, a massive log courthouse was erected, distinguished by its enormous stone fireplace. This structure became the first seat of Park County government. Stagecoaches from the Dan McLaughlin line regularly carried passengers, freight, and precious gold shipments to Denver, connecting this mountain outpost to the outside world. But Buckskin Joe was about to face its greatest trial, and from this crisis would emerge one of the most enduring legends of the American West. In spring 1861, tragedy struck the thriving community. Smallpox, that merciless killer that regularly devastated frontier settlements before widespread vaccination, arrived in Buckskin Joe. Some blamed Spanish herders who had driven sheep up from the San Luis Valley. Regardless of its source, the disease spread with terrifying speed through the closely packed mining camp. Mining operations ground to a halt. Business houses shuttered their doors. Large numbers of residents lay flat on their backs in their cabins, fighting for their lives. The dance halls fell silent, their bright lights extinguished by death's shadow. Only 2 nurses from Denver answered desperate calls for medical assistance, leaving afflicted miners to face the epidemic largely alone. It was during this darkest hour that an unlikely hero emerged, a woman known only as Silver Heels. She was a dance hall girl whose stage name came from her preference for wearing silver-heeled slippers while entertaining miners in the town's saloons. Like so much about Buckskin Joe, her real name has been lost to history. Some called her Keller. Others knew her as Josie Dillon, but her true identity was never established. What is remembered is her transformation from entertainer to angel of mercy. With the dance halls closed and her livelihood suspended, Silver Heels could have fled to safety like so many others. Instead, she chose to stay and fight the epidemic. For months on end, she tirelessly nursed both miners and their families, washing their clothing, cooking their meals, and tidying their cabins. She became a Florence Nightingale of the frontier, albeit one with a slightly tarnished reputation. But the law of averages eventually caught up with her heroic efforts. Silver Heels herself contracted smallpox. Though she survived, the disease left her with a pockmarked complexion that ended her career as a dance hall entertainer. Tragically, among the first to die was her lover, adding personal grief to her physical suffering. When the epidemic finally passed, grateful miners took up a collection amounting to about $4,000, a fortune in those days. Senator Edward O. Wolcott, hearing of her sacrifice, added another 1,000 of his own. But when they went to present this reward to their unlikely savior, Silver Heels was nowhere to be found. In finest theatrical tradition, she had quietly gathered her few possessions and vanished into the wilderness, leaving no forwarding address. In subsequent years, there were periodic reports of a heavily veiled woman appearing in the Buckskin Joe cemetery, placing flowers on graves of the 1861 smallpox victims. Romantics chose to believe this mysterious figure was Silver Heels, her veil hiding scars that prevented her return to society. Today, Mount Silver Heels bears her name, a permanent monument to a woman whose real name time has forgotten, but whose courage time cannot erase. The Civil War seemed distant to Buckskin Joe's miners, focused as they were on extracting wealth from Colorado mountains. But in 1863, the conflict reached their remote valley in the most dramatic fashion imaginable. The Confederate guerrilla Reynolds gang had devised an audacious plan to fund the Southern cause by robbing Colorado gold shipments. Their target, a stagecoach loaded with precious metal from the Phillips lode. The robbery occurred at McLaughlin Station, just east of Fairplay, but the Confederate raiders' triumph was short-lived. Pursuing posses scattered the guerrillas in devastating crossfire, forcing them to flee into the mountains. According to legend, the gang buried $40,000 in gold high in Handcart Gulch before their final capture or escape. This buried treasure has spawned countless searches and spurious treasure maps designed to separate the gullible from their money. To this day, fortune hunters scour mountainsides around old Buckskin Joe, chasing dreams of Confederate gold. But even as treasure hunters plotted and Silver Heels' legend grew, the town that had spawned these stories was living on borrowed time. By late 1865, The rich lodes that had created Buckskin Joe were showing ominous signs of exhaustion. Miners encountered massive granite walls on all sides of the gold deposits, nature's way of saying the party was over. For a brief time, the mines operated as stone quarries, but this was merely postponing the inevitable. The end came swiftly. By late 1866, the town was empty. The county seat relocated to Fairplay, taking with it the last official recognition of Buckskin Joe's importance. One dramatic account claims the entire population departed in a single day and night, though historians view such claims with skepticism. More likely, the abandonment was gradual but inexorable, as miners and merchants followed the promise of gold to new strikes and fresh opportunities. What they left behind was a ghost town in the truest sense: empty buildings, scattered foundations, and an extensive cemetery where dreams and disasters of the gold rush era lay buried beneath simple wooden markers and weathered stone. The original Tabor store has been relocated to Fairplay's South Park City, where it serves as a monument to the merchant who would later become the Silver King. But the site of Buckskin Joe itself remains largely as the miners left it, a meadow where foundations peek through the grass and where the wind through aspen trees whispers stories of a vanished world. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.